My wife's beloved adopted son died on my operating table. He was also the only son of her lover. Her lover beat me up, and my wife didn't stop him. Because if she did, she'd probably hit me even harder. She contacted the medical malpractice center right in front of me. She threatened to sue me, saying I killed her godson out of spite. The day the assessment result came, she collapsed in my arms, crying and begging for forgiveness. I pushed her away and handed her divorce papers. My surgery patient didn't make it. I walked out of the operating room, feeling devastated, only to be slammed against the wall by my wife. The back of my head and body hit hard, and I tumbled to the floor, dizzy. But my wife didn't care. She just screamed at me, "Why didn't you save Tom?" Assistant physician Selena quickly helped me up and calmly explained, "Gina, Dr. Calvin did his best." My wife's lover, Harry, rushed up to me right then. Eyes blazing, he grabbed my surgical scrubs. "You did it on purpose, didn't you?" I shook my head, trying to explain. "Mr. Harry, I did everything I could. Ask my wife." Tom had a car accident, and it was my wife Gina who brought him to the hospital. But it was too late by then. Tom's spleen had ruptured, causing massive internal bleeding. I knew my wife always considered Tom her own kid, and she begged me repeatedly to save his life. So I understood she couldn't accept his death right away. I thought she'd calm down and speak up for me, but instead, she slapped me hard. "Calvin, you disappoint me. Our baby isn't even born yet, just a bunch of cells." But Tom was real. How could you let personal vendettas kill him? Selena looked at Gina in shock and confusion. "Gina, how could you?" Seeing Harry about to punch me, Selena quickly stepped in. "Please calm down, Mr. Harry. We really tried everything." But Harry didn't believe it. Gina looked at me like I was on trial, nothing but disappointment in her eyes. Watching a young life slip away on my table was painful enough, no less than their own grief. The failure weighed on my soul. But Gina's doubt hurt a million times more. I didn't want to speak to her. I walked past her quietly. But Gina grabbed my wrist hard. "Calvin, silence means guilt, right?" Her usually gentle hands were incredibly strong today. My wrist, sore from the long surgery, hurt terribly under her grip. "I have a clear conscience. You know what condition he was in when he arrived." Gina didn't seem to grasp my words, kept pushing. "Stop with the excuses. You know he could have been saved with your skills. You killed him on purpose. See, you can't argue when they've made up their minds." My fellow medical staff were stunned to silence. She was my wife, and a lawyer. No evidence at all, yet she'd question my morality and ethics for her lover's kid. I pried her hands off, looking straight at her twisted, furious face. "Gina, do you hear yourself?" Holding back anger and disappointment, my clenched hands trembled uncontrollably. Gina was like a raging lioness, clawing and hitting me violently. "Why'd you kill Tom? Wasn't Harry's life hard enough without his wife? Why'd you take his only family?" Her sharp nails left several bleeding cuts on my face. Harry, seeing me not retaliate, had a gleam in his eyes. Suddenly, he was hitting me like rain. "Your wife doesn't even believe you. How dare you say it wasn't on purpose? You murderer. I'll make you pay for my son." For a moment, I didn't know whether my body or my heart hurt more. The nurse immediately called security. Even as security restrained Harry, he still kicked me. I stepped aside, holding on tightly to Gina, who still wanted to scratch me. My wife, who once was a socialite, now resembled a street brawler. Her typically neat hair was messily draped around her flushed, sweaty face. "Calvin, just wait. I'm suing you. I'll get justice for Tom." I let go of her hands, defeated. She immediately contacted the Medical Malpractice Assessment Center in front of me. Harry, hearing her on the phone, broke free from security. "Gina, stop it. Tom's gone. I don't want him to suffer more." With that, he covered his face, silently crying. I watched him fake it, though Gina bought it. "I don't believe Tom just died like that. I need justice." She lent her shoulder to Harry for comfort, leaving me with nothing but cold, shocked eyes. I watched her standing close to Harry, and pain seeped into my heart. After returning to the office, I curled up weakly on the cot. Why did the fluorescent lights seem so harsh? They pained my eyes, as if something within me was about to explode. Boys don't cry, they say, yet tears fell silently. As my tears traced over my cuts, they stung, terrifyingly painful. Tom was just Harry's child with his late wife. Gina's ridiculous dramatics made it seem like Tom was her own child. Ridiculous. Did she think about what I was going through? She's a lawyer, always chasing justice. But I'm a doctor. Would I suddenly toss aside my ethics just because Tom was Harry's son? Dr. Calvin, maybe treat your wounds. It's hot. Don't want an infection. Selena handed me some iodine. I looked in the mirror and saw my face scratched up by Gina. The marks she left were glaringly painful. Each cotton swab touch burned more. Calvin, is that guy related to your wife? You think she'll really sue? My hand paused in frustration. It was her first love, and honestly, who knows if he'll press charges or not. What? Maybe you should talk to them nicely. A lawsuit would be a real headache. I'm not afraid of shadows when I stand upright. If she truly sues, I'm not scared. I rubbed my aching temples and thought to myself, if she really does sue, that's the end of our marriage. Selena hesitated but then tried to persuade me. The doctor-patient relationship is already sensitive. A lawsuit would be bad for both you and the hospital. Maybe you should try to talk to your wife? If she can help smooth things over and calm the family down, the misunderstanding could be cleared up. I knew what Selena was saying. But Gina, a top lawyer, was leading the charge against me. Just the threat of a lawsuit was bad enough. People are scary when they talk. She knows exactly what kind of impact a lawsuit would have. Asking me to console Gina over this is an insult to both my feelings and my profession. Even if I bent over backward, I couldn't stop her if she had set her mind on it. It's not like just talking to her would make her drop the lawsuit. Plus, Harry was clearly just causing trouble, no misunderstanding there. Exhausted, I got home, and Gina was nowhere to be found. Lying in bed, I replayed the surgery over and over, reflecting on my decisions and abilities. Did I really have no ulterior motives? Just as the thought appeared, I broke out in a cold sweat. I smacked myself twice. Calvin, get a grip. Then Harry sent me a video. Dr. Calvin, you're a disgrace to the medical profession. If I were you, I'd be ashamed to live. The morning's medical dispute had gone viral. The outraged commenters didn't know the full story of a child supposedly dying from a doctor's intentional negligence. Especially the moms, they couldn't stand it. They united, sharing the video and harshly criticizing me. Seeing the buzz building, Harry created a throwaway account, lamenting the loss of his wife and child with tears. While he cried, his wrist showed both old and new scars from suicide attempts, evoking great sympathy online. He didn't outright claim I was at fault, but every word guided the viewers to attack me like weapons in his hand. Even as the hospital officially explained and apologized, no one was buying it. In a day, I became the accused murderer everyone wanted caught. Gina didn't come home all night, didn't answer calls, didn't reply to texts. She watched coldly as the hospital and I faced chaos, without saying a word to defend me. She even posted a picture of the lawsuit in Harry's comment section. My condolences. I'll help you seek justice. I got it. She was serious about this. I didn't sleep a wink, because Harry sent me another photo. In it, Gina lay asleep on a couch with Harry taking a selfie, getting all cozy behind her. That disgusting pose made me sick. Gina was tired and stayed at my place. Harry stressed the word tired in his voice message. There wasn't a hint of a grieving father in that tone. Dr. Calvin, after much thought, if you publicly apologize, I'll persuade Gina to drop the lawsuit. You know she's always stubborn about my matters. It was all pure provocation and gloating. Apologize for something I didn't do? No way. If Gina wants to make a scene, let her. I don't care anymore. I certainly don't need Harry's help convincing Gina to drop the lawsuit. That would be utterly humiliating for me. In Gina's mind, one glance from Harry, and I've lost it all. The next day, the chief wanted to talk. Calvin, just keep this between you two. Resolve this at home. You should meet with the deceased's family and clear up the misunderstanding. I looked at him, feeling helpless. Chief, I'm not afraid of an investigation. The autopsy will prove my innocence. The issue is other people think I was negligent on purpose. To make sure Harry doesn't backtrack midway, I also contacted the Medical Malpractice Review Center. Let's see which way the scales of justice tip. Calvin, things have changed because your wife got involved. You get that, right? The family can't accept the outcome. It's normal for them to be emotional. As doctors, it's up to us to calm and resolve misunderstandings. Your wife is key to that. I smiled bitterly. All right, I get it. The chief was right. This situation blew up because of my personal issues with Gina. I found her at Harry's place. She looked at him worriedly before agreeing to come downstairs with me. I begged her to reconcile. What do I have to do to make you believe I had no ulterior motives? What if I ask the chief to let you see the surgery records? They can't fake those, right? She shot back. Calvin, what are you afraid of? Or are you feeling guilty? Guilty? I was desperate, practically begging with tears. Come home with me, will you? If she would just come with me, I could take her to the hospital to see the surgery records. I'd explain every detail of the emergency and my concerns. But she coldly said, Harry's not in a good place right now. If anything happens to him, it would be a disaster for you. Until the results are out, we shouldn't have too much contact. Otherwise, it wouldn't be fair to my client. Using it's for my sake as an excuse to accompany another man? I pulled out my phone, pointing at the photo Harry sent me, questioning her. Is this how you accompany him? Her face showed irritation at the intimate photo but then relaxed. He was just worried you'd be concerned about me. Don't overthink it. There's nothing between us. He even urged me not to let this come between us as a couple. It was my decision to appeal on Tom's behalf. Her logic was lost on me. Why? Gina rubbed her temples, feeling annoyed. You don't get it. People with depression are sometimes very stubborn or contradictory. At this point, don't provoke him. Any random thing could be the straw that breaks the camel's back. I was dumbfounded. Should I just compromise for this baseless accusation? What does Harry's misfortune of losing his wife and child have to do with me? Why should my happy life pay the price? I clearly saw the awkwardness and anger flash on Gina's face after hearing Harry's sarcastic voice message. But in the end, she chose to defend Harry and then decisively left. 3 days later, Gina brought Harry with her to the dean's office to wait for me. When I arrived, the dean suggested again, Calvin, why don't you apologize to Mr. Harry, and then we can sit down and talk it over? Holding on to a last bit of hope, I pulled Gina aside. I've searched my heart and found no selfish motives. Why won't you believe me? Surgery is risky. I'm not a god. Looking exhausted, she coolly touched her abdomen and said, You have a motive. Our unborn child became my motive for murder? I let out a bitter laugh. Why would you insult me like this? Harry watched with his arms crossed, enjoying the show. Gina wouldn't even spare me a glance. The silence was painfully awkward, everyone waiting for me to apologize. My throat felt like it was stuffed with a wad of wet cotton. I couldn't say a word. Seeing I wasn't moving, the dean had to bow at 90 degrees to them and apologize himself. Mr. Harry, Miss Gina, I deeply apologize for this. My eyes immediately filled with tears. I quickly helped the dean up and glared at Gina. After a long pause, I forced myself to endure the pain in my throat and asked Gina hoarsely, Do you have to make this so ugly? She finally looked at me, but her gaze was as cold as ice. An apology is just a formality. We need the truth. We? Is she speaking as an agent or as Harry's family? With that, she left a legal notice and walked away with Harry. To avoid any suspicion, she personally organized the materials and had a capable assistant help Harry file a lawsuit. So this is what it feels like to have a steel needle penetrate your heart. Pain beyond words. The dean sat down helplessly, sighing at their backs. Colleagues crowded the hallway to watch the drama. Under their scrutiny, I felt stripped bare as I beat a hasty retreat. Suspended and investigated, I had to stay home to avoid online harassment and public shaming. But I didn't stay idle. Before the results came out, I conducted a thorough investigation. A month later, the investigation and medical malpractice evaluation results were released. Holding the evaluation report, Gina finally came home. But she hesitated at the door, not daring to come in. Our eyes met. The girl I cherished and loved, once radiant like a rose, now looked worn out and dull. After a while, she burst into tears and rushed into my arms. "Honey, I was wrong. Can you forgive me?" What is she asking me to forgive? Forgive her for crossing boundaries with Harry? Forgive her for letting our child die for someone else's son? Forgive her for slandering and insulting me without understanding the situation? Forgive her for standing by as I was publicly shamed and then adding insult to injury? A dull ache hit my chest. I heartlessly pushed her away and handed her a divorce agreement. Without a glance, she tore it up and cried uncontrollably. "Honey, no divorce. I won't divorce. Gina, it's too late." The last time she cried like this was after Harry dumped her. No, since I fell in love with her, this was the worst I'd seen her cry. Instinctively, I lifted my hand to comfort her. Seeing this, hope filled her eyes as she waited for me to pull her into my arms. But I clenched my fist and let my hand fall without emotion. The light in her eyes dimmed instantly. She pouted like an abandoned stray cat. I stepped back and she moved forward step by step. Cornered against the wall, she hugged me tightly, resting her face on my chest, sobbing so hard it was hard to breathe. Yet she still pleaded desperately. "Calvin, I'm sorry. Really sorry. Can you stop being mad at me? Calvin, give me another chance. Okay? Didn't we agree to have a baby after this was over?" She looked at me with such sincerity, as if she only had eyes for me. In the past, I would have given my life for that look. But I can't forget. Before today, only Harry filled her heart and mind. When she accused me of purposely not saving Tom, the Calvin who loved her dearly died. She stood on tiptoe trying to kiss me. Her cold tears drenched my face, but they weren't as cold as my heart, wounded by her. I pushed her away again. She struggled fiercely, accidentally knocking our wedding photo off the wall. The picture I loved most, "My love is eternal," fell and shattered. Just like our marriage. I have lost my love forever. Gina, can't you see? My heart is just like this broken glass. You shattered it with your own hands, and there's no fixing it. She staggered back like a scolded child, looking at me with a tear-stained face, at a loss for what to do. Then something seemed to hit her, and she started rummaging through drawers. She knelt with glue on the floor like a devotee, desperately trying to piece together the irreparable broken glass. Even when the shards cut her hands and blood flowed, she was oblivious. Blood stained the glass pieces. Furious, I kicked the wedding picture aside. "Gina, enough. If you knew this, why did you do it in the first place? Our marriage ends here." Her blood-stained hands shook as she pitifully begged me. "Calvin, can you comfort me? It hurts, my hands hurt, my heart hurts. I was clean with him. I did nothing against you. I just couldn't let it go." And he genuinely was pitiful. I worked relentlessly, hoping to finish his case sooner. I didn't expect this to happen. I know Gina didn't physically cheat. She has her principles. But her heart? When you like someone, even if you don't say it, your eyes will give it away. I've seen the caring look she gives Harry. I'm all too familiar with it. Since then, her heart scales unknowingly tipped towards Harry. "Gina, I believe you, but I can't accept a wavering heart. Since you can't let go of your feelings, why not face them and reconcile with him? He's single too." Gina shook her head frantically. "Calvin, do you not love me anymore? Why would you divorce me over something so small?" To her, these issues were just small. My heart has hurt for so long that at this moment, I could calmly ask her, "If you could do it over again, would you still get involved with them?" I looked at her gently one last time, filled with hope and anguish. In my mind, I thought, if she says no, I'll give her one more chance. I know I shouldn't pity her, but damn it, I couldn't stop myself from feeling soft. Right then, Gina's phone rang. It was Harry calling. Gina took a deep breath and hung up the phone. The phone rang again and again, persistently. Gina looked at me, seeking help, her lips moving as if trying to speak but failing. My gaze turned cold. If you want to answer, just answer it. Don't blame me if something happens. Gina, as if granted a pardon, quickly picked up the call. What? Okay. I'll be right there. Her face was full of panic and chaos. Calvin, Harry jumped off a building. He's in the hospital. I'll be back soon. Wait for me. I watched her rush off, feeling hopeless. Whether she came back home or not didn't matter anymore, because there was no home left. I should have seen this coming. Gina and I have been married for 3 years, but I've loved her for almost 10. When I had a crush on her, she was busy chasing after Harry. After she finally won him over, Gina had a car accident and faced paralysis. Without a word, Harry moved on and married someone else. Gina couldn't handle it and refused treatment. I gave up further studies, staying with her day and night for rehab. When she was able to walk again, Harry's son was born. She started drinking heavily every night again. I stayed at the bar every time, taking her home when she was drunk, making hangover soup without changing clothes to take care of her. I offered her comfort, expecting nothing in return. One drunken night, Gina grabbed me as I was leaving. Don't go. She leaned in, trying to kiss me. I dodged and looked into her eyes. Gina, who am I? Calvin. Since she didn't mistake me for someone else, I didn't avoid her anymore. That night, Gina threw everything she had at me. The next morning, she woke up in my arms, soft like a little kitten. It was the scene I had dreamed of. Morning, sunshine, and Gina. Time well spent with her. After we confirmed our relationship, we naturally dated and got married. I thought I'd gotten my happily ever after. Until Harry, after losing his wife, developed depression and reached out to Gina. A photo of him cutting his wrists to commit suicide made Gina cry immediately. I understood Harry's grief from losing his wife and his desperation reaching out to Gina. So when Harry asked Gina to handle his property dispute case, I had no objections. To help Harry reclaim his late wife's assets, Gina was busy all the time. When I showed some temper, she'd wrap her arms around my neck and act cute. Honey, once I'm done, I'll spend all my time with you. Then we can have a kid. Every time I believed her wholeheartedly, until she spent nights at the law office because of Harry's case. Honey, he's just your client, not your husband, and you're not his son's mom. Gina rubbed her temples and replied impatiently, Can you stop making a fuss? I'm already so tired. I was just worried about her, and a bit jealous too. How is that making a fuss? She didn't like me mentioning Harry and his son, so I stopped talking about them. But apparently, that wasn't enough. She was busy with the case and taking care of Harry's sick son. She didn't even realize she was pregnant. She caught the flu from Tom and it overwhelmed her. Our first child gone just like that. She wouldn't even rest, keeping busy for Harry instead. I lost my temper at her for the first time, yelling about her priorities and boundaries. The unborn child became a thorn in my heart. This thorn was the reason she sued me for not saving Tom. And it pushed her further and further away from me. Our 3-year relationship meant nothing compared to Harry. The tests cleared my name, but Harry's suicide attempt put me back in the hot seat. I went from being a murderer to the other man who ruined a love affair. People who didn't know the truth advised me to let go, saying the unloved one is the third party. I felt it was absurdly laughable. Looking at the file in my hand, I smiled faintly. Remembering our marriage, I called Gina one last time. Harry is just using you. Stay away from him if you don't want your reputation ruined. Gina hesitated for a moment. Honey, I'll wait until his mood improves and then. I hung up on her. It's hard to convince someone who's set on self-destruction. If she wants to jump into fire, that's her choice. I took the evidence to Harry's brother-in-law, Jason. The man sneered at me. Dr. Calvin, instead of winning back your wife, why come to me? I knew he looked down on me. A man who can't even keep his wife is indeed useless. Don't you want to find out how your sister and nephew died? Jason was about to close the door when he froze. His breathing became rapid. What do you mean? Just what it sounds like, you know what's going on. Jason dropped his disdain and invited me inside. I got straight to the point and handed him the file. Jason's hands trembled as he read through it all. His eyes red with anger. That damn bastard caused my sister and nephew's deaths. When Harry refused the professional therapists I recommended several times, I got suspicious. Logically, if he truly cherished his late wife, even a person in deep shock wouldn't ignore their child. If he really had depression, he should have been cooperating with treatment. Tom was the apple of their eye, but Harry didn't pay much attention to him. Instead, he focused all his energy on Gina. Gina ended up caring for and loving Tom more than his own dad did. Tom seemed to become a tool for Harry to gain attention and emotional value from Gina. My suspicion reached its peak when Tom died. The amount of bleeding in Tom's abdomen wasn't what you'd expect if he'd been rushed in right after a car accident. Even if Harry caused no trouble, I would have called the cops to investigate thoroughly. I had a strong feeling that Tom had a severe abdominal injury before the accident. So I got a friend to check the surveillance footage from when Tom was hit. Unfortunately, the camera only caught the moment Tom was struck and thrown. Shortly after, Gina and Harry arrived in a panic. I wouldn't suspect Gina, because she genuinely treated Tom as her own son. After Tom's death, Harry turned all his anger on me, while staying silent about the hit-and-run driver. The records showed Tom was hit by a car that rolled off from being parked. Coincidentally, it was an unregistered car, and the original owner had passed away. I watched the footage over and over again. From that angle and speed, it shouldn't have caused such serious injuries. Too many coincidences made it seem like a well-planned setup. My first thought was of Harry. When Harry initially showed indifference to his son, I warned Gina that something felt off. Honey, does Harry really have depression? If he truly loves you, he wouldn't keep threatening suicide just because of the kid, right? But she always excused him due to his depression, saying, "How can you think like that? Harry does care about Tom, he's just overwhelmed. Plus, Tom's 7 now, he should be mature." I talked to Tom's teacher, and the outcome was jaw-dropping. The teacher seriously thought Tom might have depression and sleepwalking issues, both denied by Harry. Several times, Tom sleepwalked out of the classroom during nap time, calling for his mom. Gina picked him up from school a few times, but he was extremely resistant, even hiding in the bathroom to avoid going home after school. Some classmates heard him muttering in the bathroom, "I don't want the bad woman as my mom. She killed my mom." The bad woman he mentioned was Gina. Tom's mother, Molly, had a congenital heart condition. Before she passed away, Gina and I were very close, and she had completely cut ties with Harry. Why would Tom say Gina killed his mom? Tom was dead, but the body told a tale. The autopsy confirmed my suspicions. He'd been hit hard before the accident, and the out-of-control car only broke his ribs, worsening his condition. What's worse, a large amount of fluoxetine was found in Tom's organs. That's medication for depression. Basically, even if the car hadn't killed him, he would have died from drug overdose. They say a tiger won't eat its cubs. Yet I started questioning Harry regarding his wife's death too. But Molly's been buried a long time, and this is as far as I can investigate. That's why I reached out to Jason. Jason initially believed Molly's death was accidental. He didn't expect something fishy about his sister's passing. It wasn't until Harry blocked Jason from seeing Tom that he began to suspect something was up. When Jason tried to manage Molly's estate, citing Harry's poor management, Harry opposed the idea, only solidifying Jason's doubts. Gina was renowned in dealing with estate disputes, so Harry posed as a devoted husband, using a staged suicide photo to approach Gina. Ironically, the one truly with depression was Tom. Harry faked having depression to cover up his kid's condition, making him take antidepressants because he couldn't let Jason find out about Tom's condition. Jason kept a tight grip on the shares and often wanted to take Tom, pushing Harry into full panic mode. "Why didn't you blow the whistle on Harry if you knew he was sketchy?" Jason was confused, looking over the investigation dates. I smiled but said nothing. Clearly, before the autopsy, I just needed to show this evidence to the police to clear my name. But considering Gina was tricked, I didn't want her career and reputation dragged down by this murder. That was my last favor to her before the divorce. Unfortunately, She couldn't see beyond it. People always pay the price for their choices. I'm not worried about Molly's true cause of death. Once I handed the info over to Jason, I walked away. What Jason does with it now is his business. But I know Harry feels he's still in control, despite jumping from the building being calculated. Once I was proven innocent, the online trolls berating me had no one else to blame. They naturally turned on Harry, the root cause. So, he staged a live jump, aiming to gain public sympathy for himself and keep Gina in his corner, because he never expected the autopsy to reveal Tom's true cause of death. But that didn't stop him from gloating about winning to me. The video he sent showed him pathetically crying to Gina in bed. "Gina, it's all my fault. I didn't pay enough attention to Tom's mental health. I had no idea he was depressed so young, nor that he'd steal my meds. What a pathetic excuse. Tom's dead and he's still throwing him under the bus. Absolutely shameless." Yet, Gina fell for it again. She comforted Harry. "The past is the past, Harry. Look ahead. Everything will be all right." Harry held her hand, looking deeply into her eyes. "Gina, you'll always be with me, right?" Gina showed a bit of pain, then nodded slightly. "I will do my best to prove your innocence to the police." For some reason, when Gina said this, her tone was incredibly strange. But I didn't give it much thought, because at that moment, I felt utterly hopeless, like there was no chance of a comeback. Gina isn't that foolish. But just because Harry is her person, she seems to lose all reasoning and blindly trusts him. While Gina was keeping watch, Harry shared his joy of victory with me. "Calvin, Gina said she'll always stay with me. She believes I'm innocent. So you won't win against me." I didn't know whether to call him foolish or just foolish. A person who doesn't stay, I won't try to hold on to anymore. There's no point in arguing with Harry. Seeing me quiet, Harry grew more smug. "What's wrong? Feeling down? Not secretly crying, are you?" I just calmly replied. "Let's hope you can still laugh then." Gina didn't come home until 3 days later. I stood at the door and looked at her with a cold expression, handing over the divorce papers again. "Let's divorce. If you don't agree, I'll have to take it to court." Gina looked at me in shock, confused. "Have we really come to this? Harry is just a client. I won't defend him anymore." I shook my head. "We're done." Gina's eyes reddened and she wouldn't sign, silent for a long time. "I killed Tom's mom. I just wanted to make up for it. I don't know why it turned out like this." At that moment, I was shocked. You said you killed Molly?" Suddenly, I felt a chill run through me. I looked at Gina and she seemed like a stranger. "Calvin, I'm sorry. I let you down. I only met her once. She was the one who reached out. I didn't expect her to have a sudden attack and die." Rage engulfed me, and I shouted angrily, "Why didn't you tell me? Did you know from the start Harry hit his son? Did you hide the true cause of Tom's death for him? And blame me for not saving Tom on purpose?" I can accept Gina not loving me, but I can't accept her wrongful accusations. Gina clutched her shirt tightly. "If I say I only found out from the report, would you believe me? I found it absurd beyond belief." I shook my head weakly. "Gina, how can I trust you? You guys insisted I purposely caused Tom's death. Did you ever wonder why Harry refused an autopsy? Doesn't that sound strange? Or are you so in love with him that you blindly believe whatever he says?" Gina covered her head with her hands and cried uncontrollably. "He said he didn't mean to hit Tom. He just lost control. He didn't know Tom took the pills. He regrets it so much he tried to jump. Was I supposed to watch his whole family perish? But I never imagined he was lying to me. He used me." Her last few words were shouted. She tasted the betrayal. "Calvin, I regret it. People you pity often have traits you despise." I slowly reminded her. "When you were paralyzed, he left you without a word to marry someone else. What made you truly believe in him?" Regarding my question, she choked up and recounted her meeting with Molly. Molly discovered Harry's affair, but all the clues about the third party pointed at Gina. Molly scheduled a meeting with Gina under the pretense of consulting about a case. When Gina, falsely accused of being the third party, figured out the situation, She exploded at Molly. "If you hadn't intervened back then, Harry and I would have had many kids by now." Molly, in a fit of rage, took Gina's words as an admission of guilt, slapped Gina, and swore to ruin her reputation. As a result, Gina walked away fine, but Molly died later that night from a sudden heart attack. Gina felt deeply guilty. She believed her angry words had led to Molly's death. That's why she kept it from me and Harry, trying to atone for her actions. No wonder Gina came home one day with a red mark on her face. She had been slapped by Molly, but now, she realized she was just an instrument in Harry's plan. This morning, the police arrested Harry at the hospital for murder. They recovered Tom's diary hidden in the bed crack. In it, he wrote shakily, "Dad hit me today because I found out his secret with that woman. It turns out I misunderstood Aunt Gina. Mom's death wasn't her doing. Mom, my stomach hurts. Am I dying? Tom will come find you soon. Dad tricked me into taking the pills again. I like them because they let me see you once more. Mom, wait for me. I'll come find you." Earlier entries revealed the psychological abuse Tom endured from Harry. Unable to write words, he replaced them with their sounds. No wonder he fell into depression. Jason recounted the diary's contents tearfully over the phone. "Dr. Calvin, thank you. If it weren't for you, my sister and Tom's suffering would have remained hidden. My heart was heavy with sighs. Maybe Tom's death on my operating table was a way to reveal the truth for him and his mom." The next day, Molly's secretary committed suicide out of guilt at home. Her note confessed to conspiring with Harry to murder Molly. She revealed they manipulated Tom, leading him into a nightmarish hallucination, enduring pain before running out. The car losing control that night wasn't an accident either. So Gina was their chosen shield, and I was the scapegoat. Harry thought his plan was flawless, but didn't realize that justice always prevails. Gina was still on the ground crying. I couldn't decide if I should feel sorry for her or call her stupid. The day she met Molly is etched in my memory. She came home and cried in my arms for half the night. No matter what I said, she wouldn't tell me why. 3 days later, she got hammered at the bar. That day, she learned that Molly had died of a heart attack after they met. Even drunk, she claimed that her case was giving her trouble and she needed to relax. Maybe then, she was already having doubts? She didn't trust me. She was scared that I'd suspect she was Harry's lover too. But she didn't know I was giving her a chance all along. She just didn't appreciate it. This marriage hitting the rocks was all on her. Her tears didn't stir any sympathy in me anymore. The secretary's suicide, her note, Tom's journal, and the medical accident report revealed a long-planned murder. Gina fell from being a top-notch lawyer for justice to a disgrace aiding a villain. She finally felt the pain I went through when I was exposed online. Yet she just cried and begged me, "Calvin, if I could do it over, I would steer clear of them. No, I would never have fallen for him. I'd love only you." I got the answer I wanted. But it was too late. "Gina, there's no what if in this world." She slumped to the ground, flipping through the divorce papers like she'd lost everything. "Calvin, can you give me another chance?" I might have been overwhelmed, and Gina fainted at my feet. A sense of unease crept over me. What had I gotten into? Taking her to the hospital, I inexplicably opened her phone. She had confessed to shielding Harry, the murderer. Her phone was flooded with insults, worse than any I'd received. I ignored mine entirely, but Gina replied to every single one. She saw the insults as atonement, earnestly admitted her mistakes, allowing strangers to verbally assault her. She actually responded to each offensive message. I didn't understand what she was doing until the doctor told me, "Calvin, your wife is 2 months pregnant, but things don't look good." I thought I heard wrong. "Excuse me, what?" I took the report, and the little one in Gina's belly stabbed my heart. I sat on the bench, feeling like a complete joke. When they rolled Gina out, she had tears in her eyes. "Calvin, our baby, he's back." I looked at her and, with difficulty, asked, "Whose is it?" As soon as I said it, Gina's already pale face turned white as a sheet. "Calvin, it's our baby. Don't you want him anymore?" I gave a bitter smile. Was this child really mine? And if he was, what then? How was I supposed to love him? His existence would just remind me of those painful, distrustful days with Gina. Like the first child we lost, always a thorn in my heart. Gina, we're getting divorced soon. It's best to terminate the pregnancy while it's still early on. Gina shut her eyes, tears silently trickling down, looking as though she might shatter. He's our love's fruit. How could he be? She couldn't finish the thought. She remembered saying our first child was just a mass of cells. Fine, let's get divorced. It was rare for her to relent, so I printed out the divorce papers at the hospital for Gina to sign. Seeing my eagerness to divorce, her eyes were filled with despair besides sorrow. I never knew I could be so heartless towards Gina. I had prepaid the medical expenses. Let's arrange surgery in the next couple of days while it's still early. Mind your own business. I'm the mother. I'll decide whether he stays or goes. I couldn't understand her persistence and regret now. Felt meaningless. Why do people only cherish things after losing them? Maybe the child was wise and realized he picked the wrong parents. Before she got out of the hospital, Gina had a miscarriage. I went to see the child and gave him a proper place. My final tie with Gina was completely severed. When the cooling-off period ended, outside the civil office, Gina was much thinner. Calvin, is there really no way back for us? I pressed my lips together and walked straight into the office. With a stamped seal, this heart-wrenching love affair was finally over. I picked up my old dream again and went abroad for further studies. Later, I heard Gina defended Tom and Molly fiercely and helped bring Harry to justice. She often stood alone at a tombstone for hours. One drizzly day, we passed each other like strangers without recognition.